here, the other idea was like suppress all sense experience and you'll get something. Here they're saying, no, this comes down, descends from the upper domain and suppresses your mundane experience. It doesn't mean there won't be any seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, feeling, smelling, but the mundane aspect of those things will vanish. Right? Like Tasya Aravinda Nayana Sripad Aravinda Kinjalka Mishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu. And the four Kumaras, it's amazing. And then how, it's just how this works. They're, I mean, in this context, they're like the Brahmavadis. They're playing that role, whatever. Then they have some interaction on the outer aspects of the spiritual world, and they smell the fragrance of tulsi and the garland of Vishnu, and like just by inhaling, and they have some qualification, but they're transformed. They're totally transformed. Right? So something higher came down to them and captured them. Sripad Goswami, the Parinistitopi Naragunye Uttama Shloka Lilaya Grihita Cheta Rajar Se Akyanam Yadaditavan. When he heard about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes, that he says his consciousness was carried upward to another domain. And that was even above, as we said before, the lower hemisphere of the spiritual world into the Aprakrita Lila of Krishna. So above Adhoksaja is Aprakrita. So meanwhile, back on earth, this is descending into this plane through the medium of scriptures, which Guru Maharaj says are passive representations of conscious substance. Again, looks like a book, right? Feels like a book. You can turn the pages, right? But it's what is in here. That's why it has its own asan. We're worshiping this book. And we're going to protect it at all costs. Right? Because of, Guru Maharaj said, it's the greatest spiritual literature of all time and space has ever seen the light of day in all creations. That's this book. So, Shastra, Amnai, revealed truth. And that's how we gain infinite perspective. Krishna is allowing us, Guru Maharaj compares it to hypnotism. When the hypnotist compels you to see something, that's what you see. Atava bahunetena kim yatena tavarjuna. He's telling Arjun, because when Arjun said, I would like to, I want to see a slideshow. I want some CGI, some special effects. And Krishna said, all right, but you need the special way to see it. Divya. You want to see, and so Arjun sees the Virata Rupa, and then he gets scared. It's not just imagery. He's scared and comes back to seeing Krishna, and it's a Prakrita form. And then he's surprised to find out, he's saying, actually this is the form that's the most confidential. It's so deceptively simple, so human-like. I was talking with Roberto in the car, and I said, we can lift our eyebrows in different ways, right, to indicate things. Like, can God do that? You go, can he make a rock? Forget about making that rock that's so heavy. Can he lift his eyebrows? Can you give him that much? Right? Is the source of all, fragrance. We were speaking of the fragrance. Here are so many beautiful flowers. Right? Should we think, the original source of all fragrance has no olfactory capacity. doesn't have a clue what these things smell like. That is insanity. It's lunacy. The original source of all these we taste wonderful things all the time. The original source of all this taste can't taste anything. Right? There's no capacity to tell, like, this needs salt, or this has, this is really sweet. Can't do that. Can't see the original source of all beauty, etc. All these things. So has no sensory capacity. Is that really what we want to suggest? Or rather, shall we conceive of unlimited seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, etc. Infinite sensory capacity. That, when he he can extend to others to have a glimpse. He wants the finite having a glimpse of the infinite. What is our capacity? You go to the ocean and you take a cup. So, a drop of the finite is infinite. And a drop of the infinite is infinite. When Mahaprabhu and his devotees were in Puri, and during the Rath Yatra time, at one point they're playing, and I forget which one, in one of the ponds there. They're playing, but it's unusual to play. Like Advaita Charja is like turned into like Shai. I mean, they're having really mad pastimes. And at one point, Mahaprabhu noticed that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Pundarik Vidini, they're playing like children. And he's thinking, oh, this isn't good, People, they're supposed to be such grave scholars, and look at this as, people shouldn't see that. And Gopinath, attorney says, what? He said, a drop, Vishwam Gauru was saying, you've inundated this world in a flood of Krishna praying. Mountains have been inundated. They're like little hills, let them play. This is nothing. So we, in our pride of our own way of seeing things, are myopic. We limit our vision and think we extend it by mixing with more people like ourselves. Whereas the spiritual growing, let the infinite make himself known to the finite. He said, if you can take even a little bit of faith in this prospect that you hear and cast it toward the infinite, he said, then prepare yourself for what will come to you. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Mj ki Jai Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Mj Jai Hari Haraya Krishna Yadavaya Namo